with the 29th selection for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think I'm going to take Kiara Elam, quarterback from Florida. So that's my guy. I like him. Matter of fact, my strategy, because we're talking about a lot of things that we need, right? We know we need a corner. We know we need a wide receiver. We need edge. But holes-wise, myself, I think defensively, if you get a corner, a guy that has the ball skills that he has, okay, the length that he has, the speed that he's got, natural skills, who without a doubt plays big and talented against all the big names and the talents and all he's just going to get better with the competition he's going up against. That's the way I've seen it. And so when I was seeing on film, the things he was doing, man, he was, when I'm talking about impressive, I mean, I really, really liked him. I liked him a lot. And so if we can get a guy like that here with the Chiefs on defense at corner, to me, I think, man, he's a great fit. So, Damon, what do you think?
It'd be a kind of a surprise pick in a way. Not saying that he's definitely top 25 worthy. I live right here near Gainesville. I've watched him play live. The kid is a ball hawk. He is a beast on the football field. You said it right. I think with the 29th pick overall, I think the Chiefs are probably going to go best player available. And there's going to be some guys that are there. And, will they take a corner necessarily first overall? I don't know. I'm not trying to discredit Jason or saying anything negative on this. I'm just saying, like he said in the beginning, it's hard to determine who's going to be there. If you look at the top 30 visits, most of the guys that they have brought in for the Chiefs for the defensive back position are late round guys, or guys that are kind of like brim guys, like Jalen Watson from Washington State, or Greg Jr. from Ouachita Baptist. They're small school guys or smaller guys that are pushed down the ranks, which usually says that they're kind of probably interested in what they have on their roster. Now, I'm not saying they won't go get a top tier corner, because they do have extra picks from the Tyreek deal. So could be a great option. I think a player that could fall to you, and I hope I don't ruin your 20 or your 30th pick. Why don't I let you do the 30th pick, and then I'll go over and say a couple guys that I think could be there and throw out a couple more possibilities, because there could be some sneak moves in here if we can. So why don't you go ahead on 30, and then I'll come back and answer for both.
So I kind of like what you said with that, because if Elam slides down to us, right, and that's almost what I was thinking too, he could be the next best guy on the board, right? Like if he slides down, I'm thinking, look, you got to get a guy like this, right? That's to me would be the next best guy possibly on the board that at least I would take, especially dealing with the need. So I'll go to my 30. So my 30 is this, and kind of my thinking is, if I'm Brett Veach, this is my druthers. I have it like I want to. I've said I want to be more defense heavy because of the holes that we had to fill, right? I mean, there's a reason we have all these draft picks. Let's use them for what the holes that we have on defense. Now, not saying that the Chiefs don't like the guys in the room, because I know they do. But we also lost a great guy in free agency, which we need to replace. And so also, too, if it throws into the time and like we don't have, Tyrann Mathieu or some of those guys that have the skill set, we need a guy back there who is a dog, who plays man coverage with the best of them, right? Put their hands on him. It comes up, you can tackle, do all those different things. 30th pick. I'm thinking now, edge-wise, I'm going to have to go with my man, Arnold Ebedike, or what is I know it's not. Yeah, I like him a lot. And so I've been kind of going back and forth between him and my faith. I really have, as far as like what we could utilize in this defensive system. But I like him a lot just because of the simple fact his athleticism seems to kind of jump off the board a little bit more to me, and I'll say this, when I've evaluated, I worked, combine, regional combines. I've scouted, I've coached college ball for the last 10, 11 years, right? And so scouting talent and looking at guys, I can remember a scout telling me, he said, Jason, he said, when I'm looking at these guys, and this is at the combine, he said, I'm looking at these guys, if these guys can line up against you on Sunday, right? Who we talking about, one of the best blocking tight ends that ever played a game, if we sitting over saying a guy that's been in here, we know what he's going to do, what he's going to bring to the table. Can this guy come against you on Sunday? Right? And it never left me. That had never left me. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, yeah, if I'm looking at these defensive ends or these edge guys, I'm lining them up. I know immediately if I could be able to put my hands on a guy, right? And look, and I'm telling you, I've gone against the best, okay? Just through my career. Through that 12 years in the NFL, I've had, you name it, right? Reggie White, Bruce Smith, Charles Mann, Kevin Green. I mean, you name it, whole Bills defense, right? The whole Bills defense. We just, during that time, in that era, Charles Haley. I mean, you name it. I mean, I've gone against these guys. And so when I look at this guy, I like his athleticism when he jumps off the board. So that's my 30th pick. So go ahead, Damon. What do you think?
So I love it. He is he is a freak. He is a beast. He's got he's big enough to play on your guys' line and get production for sure. I think where I'm going to go back to is this. I think there's going to be players that drop. Every year you see it happen. The Chiefs are intelligent. The Chiefs are not going to waste a pick, and they're not going to reach. They're just not going to. They're going to let people fall to them. And that's what makes the Chiefs amazing. If you go back and you look at their drafts, it pisses me off, but they're amazing at what they do. They'll allow a kid. What's the offensive lineman's name from Tennessee?
Smith.
You guys got him. Yeah, Trey Smith. He falls
Yes.
to you. No one. Oh, we don't want him because of this medical. Man, he's been a beast for y'all. Right. He comes in. He's been playing damn near nothing stopped, and that's what the Chiefs do that separate them from the next team, and that's why they're the best damn team year in and year out. It's the Patriots all over again. I hate them, but we'll go to this. This is where I think players are going to drop. Devonte Wyatt from Georgia. Mm-hmm. Listen. Do not be surprised if this guy falls to 29. He has several domestic violence cases that are in his past that are going to come up, and he's going to drop them. And you know damn well as everybody else, people are afraid of it. People are afraid of negative media. You know who's not afraid of it? Andy Reid. Reid. Tyreek Hill. I mean, come on now.
Right.
You take the best available player. And you know what? Mm-hmm. If Devonte Wyatt falls to you at 29 and he's just sitting there waiting for you to do something, not many other teams are going to do anything because they're going to be like, well, why did that team pass? Why did the Packers pass? Or why did this team pass? And they're going to be wondering why. And there he is just sitting there like Trey Smith. Like, hey, free gift with a bow on it. And then the 30th pick, another guy, just different guys that could fall to you. Jameson Williams, right? The wide receiver. Could he still be there? We don't know what his medicals really checked out to be. He had to go back for a recheck in Indy for the medicals. Is he 100%? What has he been doing? None of us really know if he can go. Yes, he's a hell of a player, but those medicals scare teams. In NFL teams, as you know, they look for guys that can come in right now and produce. But when you have the luxury to have two of them, you can take a flyer on a guy and wait a year. David Ojabo from Michigan.
Yeah.
That's another guy. He just tore his ACL in Pro Day. Or Achilles, one of them. I can't remember what he tore.
Yeah, Achilles, yep.
If you can get that guy and he falls to you, hello, I mean, you take him, right? I mean, that he should be a top 15 pick. So there's potential to get amazing football players early in the draft of the 29th and 30th pick. I think you have options for the Chiefs. I wouldn't rule out a lot of people. A couple other guys I could see falling to you. Maybe Nakobe Dean, if he falls that far, for the linebacker. Yeah. You guys have had some interest in linebackers coming in. I like your linebacker core, but maybe that's something that if he's the best player available, maybe they just reach out and swing for it. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you have some amazing picks, but I will say this. What if an offensive tackle falls to you? What if Trevor Penning falls past 20, he falls to 29? Do you take him, the offensive tackle from UNI? Orlando Brown's 25. He just got franchised. Do you want to pay him that much money? I mean, that's an option. I mean, you could take an offensive lineman here too, or a replacement. I personally would keep Orlando Brown at 25 and try to give him a long-term deal. But contracts are getting insane right now. Sorry to cut you off, Marcus.
No, I was just saying, we talked about this in the show. Right tackle's a giant question mark for us. And what if we put this guy at right tackle for a rookie for a year and see how Orlando Brown kind of progresses in the offseason and this year coming up. That's something we've talked about, JD. I mean, I know you wouldn't be opposed to that.
Not at all. The only thing is, when we and you know this because when you're going right tackle to left tackle, that's two totally different positions. I mean, it really is. I don't think sometimes people just, we're going to plug in their tackle. And it's not that easy. It isn't. Orlando Brown he struggled this past, I'll say relatively struggled, right? Because the sets are different. The angles are different. Getting back, I mean, we're talking about this is the blind side. You're going to have the best guy that you had to go against on the left side. And so it's you got to learn your feet, your hips, and everything has to be in order. And it takes time. It takes time for moving from right to left. And so I was just saying, man, the transition for him to be good, he's a good player. He's a great player. The transition may take a little bit longer because he's going from right to left. And it takes time for a guy that goes, look, as a tight end who switches to right to left, and I had to block right to left sometimes, I had to switch my feet up. And a lot of that is like gauging, getting back. Your steps back are a lot different. You got to practice this thing over and over again, right? I mean, your sets, your hand placement, all those things go into it. The integral parts, especially learning that position. I think people don't realize, when you do tackles, like, we're just going to plug him in it. It's not quite like that. So if guys are playing right tackle, you want to keep him at right tackle. Orlando Brown is a guy who's like high caliber tackle who can make a transition to the left tackle, right? There's not a lot of guys can do that and be effective. It's not. And so I think it talks a lot to, what he can give, what he gave this past year and who he is. And I like what you said about that, Damon, about, do you invest in this guy? If we know Pat's going to be here, then you got to make sure there's going to be somebody to protect Pat the whole time, right? You got to keep that guy here. So I don't know if you play musical chairs as far as like getting another tackle in here. You don't want to keep doing that. Look, Pat's here. Then you want to make sure you got this wall that's here too, right? That's fortified. And so as long as you have the guys, we love who we got in the room right now, right? I know I'm kind of going off on this, but when you look at maybe like you said, getting a tackle, yeah, if he falls in, because you had to think about the contract negotiations. I mean, this is everything that comes up. Everybody's talking about these things, right? Man, if he's available, do we take him? Yeah, we might have to. And so that's the beauty of having that many picks. It really is, because it gives you that flexibility to say, you know what, we could give something up to maybe get this guy if we want to, if that's the necessarily need, because we know in the contract negotiations, it's going to go, a little wary long term, right?
If you want an athletic guy, like I said to Trevor Penning in the offensive tackle, he's played both positions and at UNI. But he's tenacious as hell. Probably one of the more ruthless offensive tackles that I've ever watched. And you could see that at the Senior Bowl. Like, he was hitting dudes afterwards, pushing dudes into the dudes into the field goal post and everything. That's what I want. Hey, look, you got Patrick Mahomes, you better have somebody hitting their ass.
Right.
But
that's where I was like, get off me.
Yeah. Did you just hit Patrick? Oh, he turns into Hulk, but he's, I don't know. Hey, look, man, you got to protect that dude at all costs. That's all I'm saying. So, but no,
I like that was where I came. I love that. I love that, man. I did. I seen when we put him in. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
He's trying to start fights. Yeah,
right.
You know what,
Damon, so, go ahead.
I want to ask you about a receiver. So I was talking to Darius Snow. He's a safety, Michigan State. I do a podcast with his dad, Eric Snow, and I asked him just about some of the receivers in this class. I said, who are your favorite receivers, or who do you think are the best receivers in this class based on your experience, guarding these guys? And he said the Ohio State receivers. He said rank them how you want to. He said those are the best in the best prospects in this draft class. Once he's faced at least. And I was mainly asking about Chris Olave, because I'm a huge fan of his. Do you see him possibly being around the 29th, 30th, or no?
If Olave falls to you at 30, I can see Andy Reid running up on the stage to throw tickets and stuff, throw the nameplates at him. Olave should not be there at 29, and neither should Garrett Wilson. Both of them should be done in the top 15. But you never know. You never freaking know. Draft is stupid. You don't know if people go on quarterback binge. People just start drafting quarterbacks. I heard rumors today that Carolina's considered trading down they're willing to trade down, and they're not looking at quarterback. They're looking at a different position. So it's like, it could be interesting. The value is not going to be there like it is in the top 10 this year, because there's so many teams that have multiple picks. If they really wanted to go up to get somebody, they could. But will they? And that's the thing. I think that if the right player falls, you'll see trades. You're going to have people drop, and that's just the way that it works. And unfortunately, there's a lot more things behind the scenes that happen that we don't know about. There's failed drug tests. There's different things. There's lying, simple, stupid stuff, which, I didn't realize how big it is. But if you lie to a team, man, that'll like crush your stock. Just like stupid little lies, like they're petty. So, if somebody lies like that, they might take them right off the board, and then you're like, well, why did they pass on that guy? So I don't know. Just, there's going to be players that drop, but Olave should not be one of those, and neither should Garrett Wilson.